Alright, so the topic of today's video will be about how society is basically run by a bunch of Diddy's and Epstein's. And I feel like, unless you've been living under a rock, you probably know all this by now. But here's the thing. Some people still don't believe it. Some people, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary, do not believe that a bunch of Diddy and Epstein type people are basically running the show. Some people think, you'll hear them say stuff along the lines of, he was never convicted of that, or he was never fully convicted, they couldn't prove it. But the truth is that there's a lot of evidence to support the idea that these dudes did do all that stuff. It's just not the kind of evidence that's easily admissible in court.
Enough of you. Feel the wrath of the gods. No.
Which, in my opinion, is where the justice system really begins to fail us as people. But the evidence is really pretty overwhelming in support of the idea that these Diddy, Epstein type motherfuckers are really just running all the whole world. I mean, the boomers who still believe this shit, the idea that there's no way that a bunch of Diddies could be running everything, they're basically in denial because in their generation you actually trusted the institutions that made the world run. But Gen X and millennials are kind of, we're kind of, in a way, we're kind of like contrarians, anti-authoritarians. We don't trust authority the way that those generations did, because we didn't grow up with the same kind of guarantees in life that they did. That if you become a company man and you decide to be a good little soldier, you'll come out the other side okay. That is the fundamental theorem that they sort of base their lives around. But sadly, corporate loyalty is dead. They can dump you at any second. The Diddies, who probably are the managers of whatever company that you work at, they can just drop your ass at any second without really needing cause, and HR will support that and cover for them. In fact, so I heard a story the other day about this chick who basically was working at some, I think it was probably like a restaurant or something, and she had this creepy ass manager who was probably like twice her age or something. Started creeping on her, asked her on a date eventually, and she said no, because he could be like her dad's age or something, and she wasn't into that. And which, good on her for, sticking to her principles or whatever. But the thing is that the dude, the Diddy manager in this case, as we'll call him, he decided to just start making her life at this job a living hell. And giving her a hard time at work and shit. And when she went to HR, which HR is supposed to be on the side of the employee, at least in theory. That's not how it ever works, but in theory, they're supposed to be helping you out. HR fired her for reporting it. So she got fired for reporting this Diddy-ass motherfucker. And if that's not reflective of how the world works, then I don't fucking know what is. Because that kind of thing goes on at a higher level all over the place. All the people in power, in order to even become... That's what a lot of people don't realize, is that in order to even become the kind of person who would get into a position of power like that, you sort of have to become... You sort of have to have, like, kind of a predatory Diddy mindset. Because that's the kind of person who even seeks out power in the first place. Is Diddy Epstein type motherfuckers. That's the kind of person who thinks to themselves, yeah, I'm gonna go into management because I like to control people. It's people who are control freaks who like to hold that over decent, hard-working people who just want to make an honest living. And honestly, maybe this would be the part where I offer some kind of solution. And sadly, there is no easy solution. The only real solution that I can see, since this stuff goes so systemic and it seeps into every layer of our society, essentially, the only solution I can see is to basically start going French Revolution on these motherfuckers. That's really our only option at this point. It is getting way too ugly out there, and we're all... People are working 5 different fucking jobs while dudes with a Diddy mindset are able to freely roam the streets and exploit you for your labor and get away with horrible types of assault and other kinds of predatory things. You probably know what the kind of crime I'm trying to talk about. I'm just not... I don't want to say the actual word for it, the R word, because you can get banned off of YouTube for even talking about that, which is kind of problematic in itself, if you think about it. But yeah, so basically, don't take shit from any Diddy motherfuckers. That's the moral of the story. Might not be a particularly insightful story or moral, but somebody probably needs to hear it. You might get fired from your job. HR might fire you. But you do have legal recourse in those situations, and there are ways that you can, without exposing yourself, sort of ruin these bad people's lives or make it very hard for them to continue having a spotless reputation. And thankfully, the anonymity of the internet has allowed for that. So don't abuse it, but basically do what you got to do, because we got to get these Diddy ass motherfuckers out of the office. We gotta clear out these Epstein Diddies all over the place. There's too many of them. How did we ever let it get to this much? How did we ever let there be so many Diddies? How did that happen? And if you are a Diddy or an Epstein, then I just have one thing to say to you, which is, knock it off, Buster.